Hey guys, tonight we're going to talk about why you wouldn't last a day in the Mongol Horde. And I'm not talking about some gentle horseback riding vacation, where you complain about saddle sores and ask for the Wi-Fi password. I'm talking about the most terrifying military machine in human history, where your morning routine would involve waking up at 4 AM to the sound of 10,000 horses that smell like they've been marinating in their own filth for 6 months, and your breakfast would be whatever you could scrape off the inside of a leather pouch that's been bouncing against a horse's ribs since the Cretaceous period. You think you're tough because you survived that time your Uber Eats was 20 minutes late? Well, buckle up Buttercup, because we're about to time travel back to the 13th century, where the Mongol Empire stretched from Korea to Hungary, and every single person in it could probably kill you with a shoelace and a moderately aggressive stare. Picture this. You've just been magically transported back to 1230-something AD, and you're standing in the middle of the Mongolian steppes. The first thing you notice isn't the breathtaking landscape or the historical significance. No, it's the smell. It hits you like a freight train made entirely of unwashed socks and rotting meat. The air smells like what would happen if a gym locker had a baby with a fish market during a heatwave. You look around, and there they are. Thousands upon thousands of Mongol warriors, each one looking like they could bench press a yak while simultaneously planning your demise. These aren't the kind of people who spend their weekends at Whole Foods debating organic quinoa varieties. These are people who consider a good day one where they only had to drink fermented mare's milk twice, and nobody tried to scalp them before lunch. But before we dive deeper into this historical nightmare, why don't you drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from, and if you're enjoying this journey through time and terror, maybe hit that subscribe button. I promise I'll keep the history weird and the commentary even weirder. So you've somehow survived your first night sleeping on the ground next to a horse that snores louder than your neighbour's leaf blower. Congratulations, you're already doing better than most time travellers would. But now comes the real test, the Mongol morning routine. It's 4 in the morning and someone's shaking you awake. Not gently, mind you. This isn't your mom bringing you orange juice and asking if you slept well. This is a warrior who looks like he could arm wrestle a bear and win, and he's speaking in a language that sounds like someone gargling gravel while having an argument with a very angry goose. Your first task? Help pack up the entire camp. And when I say pack up, I don't mean fold your sleeping bag and grab your backpack. I mean disassemble an entire mobile city in under 2 hours. The Mongols could break down their entire settlement faster than you can figure out how to fold a fitted sheet. These people turned nomadic living into an art form that would make modern minimalists weep with envy. You're expected to help load the yurts onto carts, wrangle livestock that have the temperament of caffeinated toddlers, and somehow not get trampled by horses that weigh more than your car. Remember, these aren't the gentle ponies from your childhood riding lessons. These are Mongol war horses, bred for endurance and aggression. They look at you the same way you look at that last slice of pizza, except they're considering whether you'd be better as breakfast or just something to step on. And speaking of breakfast, hope you're not expecting anything that resembles food as you know it. Your morning meal consists of dried meat that has the texture of leather and tastes like what I imagine sadness would taste like if sadness were a jerky flavour. You wash it down with fermented mare's milk called erag, which is basically alcoholic milk that's been sitting in a leather bag for weeks. It tastes like someone mixed spoiled milk with regret and added just a hint of, why did I time travel to this place? The Mongols thought this was a perfectly reasonable breakfast. They also thought that bathing too frequently would make you weak, so their standards for perfectly reasonable were clearly different from ours. Now comes the part where you really understand why you're doomed. The riding. You think you can ride a horse because you went on that trail ride in Colorado that one time. That's adorable. Mongol children learned to ride before they could walk properly. By the time they were 5, they could shoot arrows backward while galloping at full speed. You, meanwhile, are about to discover that your childhood horseback riding experience is about as useful as a chocolate teapot in the Sahara. The Mongols didn't just ride horses, they became one with them. These people could sleep in the saddle, eat in the saddle, and probably do their taxes in the saddle if they had taxes. They could ride for 18 hours straight without stopping, changing horses like Formula 1 drivers change tyres. Each warrior had multiple horses, rotating between them to keep the animals fresh, while maintaining a pace that would make a modern motorcycle jealous. You, on the other hand, would be sore after 20 minutes. Your thighs would be screaming louder than a teenager who just got their phone taken away. Your back would feel like someone used it as a drum set for a particularly enthusiastic heavy metal concert, and that's assuming you could even stay on the horse in the first place. These warriors could shoot arrows with deadly accuracy while riding at full gallop. They could turn in their saddles and fire behind them without slowing down. They developed a technique called the Parthian shot, where they'd pretend to retreat, then turn around and unleash a volley of arrows that would turn their enemies into human pincushions faster than you could say, "I should have stayed in my own century." Your archery skills, meanwhile, consist of that one time you played mini-golf and got a hole-in-one, which isn't even archery, but you're pretty proud of it anyway. The Mongols would hand you a bow, and you'd probably shoot yourself in the foot within the first 5 minutes. They'd look at you the way you look at someone trying to parallel park a pickup truck in a compact car space, except with more disappointment and considerably more potential for violence. The stirrups alone would confuse you. Mongol stirrups were designed for warriors who needed to stand up while shooting, lean far to either side without falling off, and basically treat their horse like a mobile weapons platform. You'd be gripping the saddle horn like it was the last life preserver on the Titanic, wondering why nobody invented seatbelts for horses. Let's talk about the Mongol diet, which would make even the most extreme paleo enthusiast question their life choices. You think you're adventurous because you tried sushi that one time? The Mongols had a culinary philosophy that can be summed up as, if it moves, we can probably eat it, and if it doesn't move, we can probably ferment it. Their primary food sources were whatever their animals provided: milk, meat, and more milk. But not the kind of milk you get from your local grocery store that's been pasteurized and homogenized and basically turned into liquid safety. No, this was raw milk from mares, yaks, camels, and basically any mammal that couldn't run away fast enough. They'd ferment it, dry it, and turn it into a cheese so hard it could probably be used as currency or construction material. The meat situation was even more interesting. The Mongols practiced something called hunting by herding, which sounds pleasant until you realize it meant driving entire herds of wild animals off cliffs or into traps. They'd preserve the meat by cutting it into thin strips and hanging it under their saddles, where it would be tenderized by the constant motion of riding and flavored by horse sweat. Delicious, right? It's like a marinade if your marinade consisted entirely of equine perspiration and road dust. When times were really tough, they'd resort to drinking horse blood. Not in a vampire way, more in a "we need protein and this horse has plenty" way. They'd make a small cut in the horse's neck, drink what they needed, then bandage it up and keep riding. It was like having a portable blood bank, except the blood bank had legs and opinions about being used as a beverage dispenser. Your modern digestive system, accustomed to processed foods and artificial preservatives, would revolt faster than French peasants in 1789. You'd spend more time doubled over in gastrointestinal distress than actually contributing to the war effort. The Mongols would probably use you as a cautionary tale about the weakness of civilized people. They also had this delightful dish called budog, which involved cooking a goat or marmot from the inside out using hot stones. They'd stuff the animal with heated rocks, sew it up, and wait for it to cook in its own skin. It's like a medieval pressure cooker, except the pressure cooker used to have a face and feelings. But here's where things get really interesting. Even if you somehow survived the physical challenges, the psychological aspect of being in the Mongol Horde would break you faster than a Nokia phone breaks. Well, actually, those things were indestructible, so let's say faster than your resolve to go to the gym after New Year's. The Mongols weren't just warriors, they were masters of psychological warfare. They'd send spies ahead to spread rumours about their brutality. By the time they actually showed up, half the enemy would have already fled or surrendered. They cultivated a reputation for being absolutely merciless, and they earned every bit of it. You'd be riding alongside people who viewed cities the way you view a bag of chips, something to be consumed entirely and without remorse. When they conquered a place, they didn't just take it over, they'd often completely destroy it as an example to others. They'd build pyramids out of skulls like some kind of medieval interior decorator with serious anger management issues. The mental toll of constant warfare would crush your modern sensibilities. You're used to conflict resolution through strongly worded emails and passive-aggressive text messages. These people resolved conflicts by seeing who could stay alive the longest, while surrounded by people trying to kill them with sharp objects. And let's not forget the weather. The Mongolian steppes have a climate that makes you appreciate global warming. Winters that could freeze your thoughts solid, summers that would bake you like a potato in a forgotten oven. You'd be dealing with temperature swings that would make a menopausal hot flash seem like a gentle spring breeze. The Mongols were adapted to this. They'd been living this lifestyle for generations. You, Meanwhile, complain when the air conditioning in your car takes more than 30 seconds to kick in. You'd be the person asking if there's a Starbucks nearby while everyone else is planning the conquest of Eastern Europe. Your biggest contribution to the Mongol war machine would probably be serving as a cautionary tale about what happens when soft civilized people try to live like nomadic warriors. They'd tell stories about you around their campfires, about the strange person from the future who couldn't ride a horse, couldn't eat fermented milk without getting sick, and kept asking about something called WIF. So there you have it, the comprehensive list of why you wouldn't last a day in the Mongol Horde. You'd be homesick, saddle sore, probably poisoned by fermented mare's milk, and definitely questioning every life choice that led you to think time travel was a good idea. Sweet dreams, and remember to appreciate your soft bed, your processed food, and your complete lack of horse-related responsibilities. If this helped you fall asleep or made your commute slightly less terrible, maybe hit that subscribe button. Until next time, try not to time travel to any medieval empires without proper preparation and maybe a really good insurance policy.